Neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on this Monday and welcome to Good Morning Idaho. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. We've got a lot to get to on this Monday from our neighborhood reporters. They're bringing you stories from your community like Greenlee Clark, giving us a glimpse this morning into the possible future of mass transit. Could we get it? It would go from Caldwell to Meridian and Boise. Regional planners are narrowing down their options. Plus, the historic Farmaway Village is officially part of the city of Caldwell, allowing the affordable housing community to move forward with renovations and expansion plans. Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis is going to have that story coming up at 6:30. We'll get to all that in just a bit, but first let's get the latest on our weather as you get ready to head out the door. It's nice and warm this morning, Sophia.
Yeah, it feels really good outside, and as we even move through the week, Roland, it's going to feel really nice out there. So for the kiddos heading into the bus stop early this morning, you'll notice it is a little bit warmer. I don't think you'll need the light jacket. You'll be sitting in the lower 70s. Pretty cloudy as we move through the day. We'll be sitting with those mid-80s as you head home from school, and it's overall not going to be too toasty this afternoon. Now, we are going to be looking at some rain chances, and even just taking a look at our radar right now, it's nice and quiet waking up in the Treasure Valley. This is all just ground clutter and buildings and whatnot that the radar's picking up, but from Baker City to McCall over into Twin Falls, you're running into a few isolated showers this morning. So heads up on that front, drive safely and slowly, and as we move through the week, rain chances look to increase into our Wednesday. Roland.
Thanks, Sophia. We turn now to a pair of deaths over the weekend, one at a water park and another in an Arizona prison. And we start this morning in Meridian. A man in his 40s is dead after experiencing a medical emergency at Roaring Springs Water Park in Meridian. The incident happened after 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon in the park's Action River. After pulling the man from the water, lifeguards, Roaring Springs EMT, and Ada County paramedics tried performing life-saving measures without any luck. Meridian police confirmed the death was from natural causes and say no investigation is necessary at this time. An Idaho inmate is dead after he was assaulted in a private prison in Arizona. The Idaho Department of Corrections says the attack happened Wednesday morning at the Seguro Correctional Center, which is southeast of Phoenix. The 38-year-old died shortly after. Local law enforcement is investigating. As we've previously reported, of course, Idaho ships some of its prisoners to be housed out of state because of overcrowding. Firefighters are making progress on the Rock Fire over the weekend, which has burned over 2,800 acres next to Tamarack Resort. Despite challenging conditions, crews have now achieved 24% containment, with evacuation notices maintaining it ready in 2 zones and set in another. Tamarack is doing its part to help, running its snow machines to boost moisture in the air and on the ground. And according to a Facebook post on Saturday, parts of the resort are open for use. Almost 900 people are working the Rock Fire, and fire managers say they are committed to putting it out.
It's been a full suppression effort from the start.
I feel confident that we've done everything we could to this point, and we're going to continue the effort until it's out.
Big news for Treasure Valley Public Transportation. Compass has chosen commuter rail as its preferred option for future mass transit. I'm neighborhood reporter Greenlee Clark, and I spoke with the project manager and with neighbors about what this decision could mean for commuters in southwest Idaho.
Trying to get anywhere out of here in a timely manner is not always the easiest.
From his job off I-84, Casey Bradley sees the backups, accidents, and frustrated drivers every day. Now, a new plan could change how commuters move through the Treasure Valley. It's called the Let's Ride Treasure Valley Study, and regional planners at Compass say
a commuter rail option along the existing rail corridor has been identified as the most beneficial high-capacity transit option, as well as the one the public certainly is the most interested in.
The proposed route would connect Caldwell, Nampa, Meridian, and Boise with up to 10 stops, most with park and ride lots for drivers who live too far to walk or bike. But a project this size won't be cheap. Miller estimates the cost to be between $1.5 and $2.5 billion.
The next step will be identifying some funding, and we don't have any right now. The other realistic next step is beginning conversations with Union Pacific, which owns the corridor, and Watco, which operates it, about our ability to use it for passenger rail.
When I asked Casey if he would use this potential new way of transportation, he told me.
Probably not, but that's just because I like driving myself.
Supporters say public engagement will play a key role in whether this project ever leaves the station.
Keep talking about it. We're glad to share the data we're seeing and try to tell that story and make sure it's what the people support.
If it alleviates the traffic, it's a good idea. I mean, even coming from there to here, it's usually packed up, and then heading into town, it's even worse.
The final report is expected to be complete by Compass in February 2026. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark for Idaho News 6.
CJ Strike is one of the most popular destination recreation areas in this part of the state for boating, for fishing, and for water skiing. But access here has been closed for the next 2 weeks. The docks on the north side of Idaho Power's Love Ridge Bridge recreation access at the reservoir are closed during facility upgrades. Now the restroom and parking lot and river access on the south side remain open. Floating docks were installed at North Park last year. New docks at the Narrows will be complete before the end of August. So keep in mind, all boaters and fishermen and recreationalists, this will be closed for another 2 weeks heading into Labor Day weekend.
We're nearing the end of the 100 deadliest days on Idaho roads. I'm your Boise Bench neighborhood reporter Sahana Patel, taking a look at motorcycle crash numbers and how they've changed this year following a crash on the Boise Bench.
You know, we tell motorcyclists all the time, you can be right, but it's not worth being dead right.
Motorcycle fatalities in Idaho have been on a steady increase from 2022 to 2024, according to statistics from the Idaho Transportation Department. The most recent loss on the Boise Bench happened when a rider suffered a medical emergency while on his bike.
Kevin was a real down-to-earth guy. He just got a trike, and that was probably saving grace that he didn't have a problem and fall over.
Kevin's death was classified as a motorcycle fatality, and although the crash wasn't his cause of death, it highlights the vulnerability of motorcycle riders.
The driving factors for fatals of motorcycles is oftentimes a rider error.
Corporal Kyle Wills says rider error happens when motorcyclists don't know how to react in an emergency situation, which is why the Boise Police host Motorcycle Awareness Day.
And it's with motorcyclists in the valley partnering with our police motorcycle officers, working together to talk safety, to discuss safety, to demonstrate what is safe.
Wills says the safety laws don't just apply to typical cars and motorcycles.
Pedal-powered bicycle, a gas or electric-powered bicycle, or a motorcycle, and cars to really interact together. And that happens best when everybody is looking out for each other and really paying attention to the roadway.
Drivers can also play a role in keeping riders safe.
Kind of protectionary, kind of like looking out for them, giving them extra room, anticipating what they're going to do, anticipating what other drivers are going to do.
Although Labor Day is the last of the deadliest days, police continue to encourage riders to proceed with caution as summer winds down. I'm your Boise Bench neighborhood reporter Sahana Patel for Idaho News 6.
The Boise Bicycle Project, along with the city of Boise, has opened up a new traffic garden in Ann Morrison Park. 3, 2, 1. I'm your neighborhood reporter Steve Dent, and kids came out to have a fun time on their bikes and learn about safety. It's such a critical time of the year for that, as school is back in session.
It's breaking the law. I really like it. It's really teaching kids how the road signals and roads work, so they can, when they're grown up, they'll won't be injured by a car or something.
We've had too many tragic accidents involving cyclists, and following those, changes happen in a reactionary way. But the traffic garden provides a proactive approach.
Good yield.
We're presenting these concepts in a safe and playful way. So this is a great activity for a family to come down. It's really hard to teach some of these things to a young person unless you have this area.
It took years of planning by the Boise Bicycle Project and Idaho Transportation's SHIFT program to put this together.
I've had a great day here.
But now Boise has its first traffic garden to help kids learn about safety on the road.
I think it really helps people understand how much safety matters, and it's really fun.
The Boise Bicycle Project's next event is Open Streets on September 28th, where U-Stick Road will be transformed into a car-free area. I'm your neighborhood reporter Steve Dent for Idaho News 6.
When we get back, President Trump threatening to deploy National Guard troops in more cities across the U.S., and critics are arguing that Trump is manufacturing a crisis.
Good Monday morning to you. Today, our neighborhood of the day is Eagle, so shout out to our Eagle viewers this morning. This afternoon, you'll be sitting with the lower 90s. Going to be mostly cloudy throughout the day. On top of the clouds and the wildfire smoke that we'll be looking at, we also have a rainier pattern setting up for the week ahead. So I'll be showing you what that looks like coming up.
Rain? Wow. All right, it is 13 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at your national headlines this morning. Wildfires threaten homes in Oregon and California this morning, prompting hundreds of evacuations. Firefighters backed by helicopters worked Sunday to contain the blazes in really dry conditions. CAL FIRE says the picket fire in Napa County, north of San Francisco, has charred about 10 square miles, prompting the evacuation of about 500 people. Meanwhile, in Oregon, our neighbor, the state fire marshal's office says the flat fire is threatening nearly 4,000 homes across 29 square miles in central Oregon. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country will not lose its war with Russia as it marks 34 years of its independence from the old Soviet Union. U.S. Special Envoy Keith Kellogg was in attendance at the celebrations in Kyiv, during which Zelensky awarded him the Ukrainian Order of Merit of the First Degree. And President Trump, meanwhile, sent a letter praising Ukraine's, quote, unbreakable spirit. Ukraine declared its independence from the Soviet Union August 24th of 91. Democrats in Illinois say they're going to sue if President Donald Trump deploys National Guard members to Chicago. Two officials confirm the president is considering expanding his crackdown on crime and illegal immigration in that way. Now, it's unclear how many troops he might send and when. City statistics show violent crime is down by double digits in Chicago. And yet the president is receiving pushback as a result this morning about his, what people call, false claims that crime has spiraled out of control in Democratic-led cities. ABC's Christian Cordero has details from Washington.
Nearly 2 weeks into the Trump administration's federal takeover of Washington, D.C., the president is shifting focus to other cities as he looks to expand the National Guard for a supposed crime-fighting mission.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. So I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York.
A U.S. official tells ABC News that planning is underway to send the National Guard to Chicago, but no official deployment has been ordered, and the Department of Defense declines to comment. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is pushing back against the president's claims about crime, writing, quote, there is no emergency that warrants the president of the United States federalizing the Illinois National Guard. Donald Trump is attempting to manufacture a crisis. Former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel on CNN.
And my guess is when you look at what he did in D.C., he's not going to actually deal with crime. This is an attempt to get the goods through customs. This is an attempt to deal with cities that are welcoming cities, known as sanctuary cities, and deal with immigration.
New York's Governor Kathy Hochul also disputes Trump's claims, telling ABC News crime is down across New York City and statewide, and that the calls to use military power undermines the work being done. And in Maryland, Governor Wes Moore is responding to Trump's calls for leadership to, quote, clean up Baltimore. The governor there is touting the city's falling violent crime numbers, calling Trump hypocritical.
If you look at the president's budget, it actually cuts funding towards violence intervention groups. It cuts funding towards the bureaus of the FBI and the ATF that are supporting local jurisdictions like Baltimore.
Moore also adding,
it's unconstitutional. It's a direct violation of the 10th Amendment.
Despite the threats for military intervention, the White House does not have the same kind of authority over cities beyond Washington, D.C. When a governor calls up the National Guard at the request of the president, they can effectively police like law enforcement. When the president calls troops up without the governor's permission, the Guard's authority is limited to protecting federal buildings and personnel. Christian Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam. Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Okay, it is 6:18, and thank you for joining us on our Monday morning. Now, we are getting through our Monday together. Some of us may have the Monday scaries, and if you did not like the heat last week, then you're going to love the forecast ahead, especially because we have rain chances and even the chance to see some stormy weather here. Taking a look downtown right now, it's pretty quiet out there. Temperature sitting in those lower 70s, so a bit of a warmer start to our day. I want to talk about our wildfire smoke because that's also going to be something you notice as you move through your morning. This is going to be densest over our east and west central mountains through the day. By 6 o'clock, it starts to shift over into the Treasure Valley, so expect smokier and hazier conditions to build in this afternoon. By tomorrow afternoon, it's pretty light across our valley floors, and then you get some spotty and denser areas as you make your way up well towards our north. As far as air quality goes, we are still at a moderate. It is starting to dip a little bit below that as you make your way further well up to our north, and I'm going to continue to monitor this as we go through our day together, but you still should be okay if you're doing anything outside. On top of being outside, you'll notice that's going to be cloudier, but also that we'll be looking at some storm chances for this afternoon. This is our Monday, and this shows us that all of this area in light green is the possibility of where we could see some thunderstorms develop. It doesn't necessarily mean that we'll all see them, but it does provide that chance for us. So just taking a look at today, it's a very cloudy start no matter where you're waking up. Isolated showers moving through Jackpot and Twin Falls by 2 o'clock. This is going to go a little bit heavier into our Magic Valley, so if you're anywhere in the Magic Valley, I would pack the umbrella today, and also just everyone do that. You're going to want it for the week ahead. By 6 o'clock, this starts to scatter across our east and west central mountains, but at this time, it's pretty quiet in the Treasure Valley, so I don't really think we'll see too much of an impact today. By Tuesday morning and into that afternoon, that's when we start to see these showers scatter from eastern Oregon down to our south, upwards towards our east and west central mountains. Wednesday morning, this is going to be the day where we get the heaviest amount of rainfall. So you'll notice by Wednesday morning, heavy showers moving through just east of Mountain Home. This is where you're going to want to make sure you have the umbrella, and if you have anything outside, if you're a jogger, who someone likes to start the early mornings outside, it is going to be raining. So heads up on that front. If you're in our mountains or planning a trip here this week, storm chances increase from Tuesday and sit with us all the way through our Friday. But you'll also notice you get some nice cooler weather with the mid 70s expected. Now, overall, our 7-day forecast shows us that closer to home, we are going to continue to see rain through at least Thursday, but you've got lower 80s into then. So it's going to be pretty comfortable through the middle of the week. Just a little bit stormier, then by the weekend, upper 80s and sunshine returns.
Meet Farmer Ted and his blue ribbon winning Armenian cucumber.
Might be a farmer, but I'm also a veteran and proud to serve my country.
At this year's Western Idaho Fair, the U.S. Air Force veteran received the first ever Honored Veterans Award.
And I'm super thrilled about this.
While it's the piece of hardware he is most proud of, he also won dozens of other first place prizes and blue ribbon wins for the vegetables, herbs, and fruits he submitted.
Right here we won first place for the largest beet. This is a dark Detroit red beet.
He tells me that his passion for farming was planted during his deployments. Now he is rooted deep in the Gem County community, growing for his friends and neighbors in Emmett at his farm stand, Sunshine Acres. And for the last few years, the cream of the crop have been entered at the fair.
In Garden City, I'm neighborhood reporter Ali Trippi for Idaho News 6.
In Gooding, we get a closer look at Idaho's dairy industry and why this dairy has gone organic. Dairy is a major part of Idaho's agriculture industry, accounting for a third of all ag revenues in the state. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Lori Nettleton, in Gooding to learn about this third-generation dairy and why it's gone organic.
So this farm is, I guess I would be the fourth generation on this piece of property here, and my kids would be the fifth.
Cody Turner drove me from his home, the same home his grandparents lived in, to meet his dairy cows.
So these are them? These are our girls here, yeah.
I was surprised to see that the cows were grazing in a large green field.
How normal is that for them to just be out in a field?
That's when Cody explained one of the most basic rules about organic dairy cows. They have to be on green pastures a minimum of 120 days a year.
And so on our organic dairies, you'll see the cows on grass every day throughout the summer, and they'll be out, gaining their feed there out in the grass.
The 3 generations before him had been conventional dairy farmers. After the 2009 downturn, Cody started talking to Horizon Organic in an effort to survive the tumultuous economy.
And the price was, a lot more stable than what I was used to. And so I thought, well, I don't know anything about organic farming, but I'm going to figure it out because Otherwise, as a young farmer, I just won't survive another downturn like that.
Step one, he says, was learning the rules of organic farming.
That's been an ongoing process, learning how to maybe go back to our roots of farming before, we had all the tools that we now have as far as conventional fertilizers and synthetic herbicides and pesticides. We have to be able to live without all of that stuff and be successful without it.
It didn't all start happening at once, and Cody told me the first year was a disaster, but now 10 years in, the effort is paying off.
The health of our cows and our crops are pretty noticeable compared to what we had dealt with in the past, and I would have to tout that all starts from the soil.
In Gooding, I'm your neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton, Idaho News 6.
6:27. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Idaho, everybody, on this Monday. Hope you're off to a good start. We've still got a lot to get to in our last half hour. Here's what you can expect from your neighborhood reporters.
In Caldwell, how an annexation is opening new doors and hearts at a former labor camp.
In Boise, neighbors once pushed back against a women's sober living home in their neighborhood. Now I have the details on how the community is helping them change more lives for the better.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Good Morning Idaho on a Monday at 6:30. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. Good to have you along, everyone. And we've got a lot to get to in this last half hour from our large team of neighborhood reporters. Twin Falls neighborhood reporter Joey Martin, by the way, shows us the latest series of expansion projects out of the College of Southern Idaho, as that school is seeing some pretty big increased enrollment, moving more resources to high-in-demand job training. Plus, Steve Dent shows us some of the highlights, if you missed it, from the Warbird Roundup at Nampa's Warhawk Air Museum, with historic planes roaring through the skies in epic fashions. Cool to see, along with that F-35 that was there as well. More on all that coming up, but first let's get the latest on our weather with Sophia Cruz. I can't believe football season is here already. The Broncos are going to be playing this Thursday down in Florida. Football season is here.
I'm ready for it, and I'm ready for fall. And I know you just also moved in your kiddo. How was that?
Yeah, up at the University of Idaho is great, except a lot of smoke up there. A lot more up there than down here.
Yeah, that's been the main trend. Where all of those really larger wildfires are, it's upwards towards our north. So we haven't seen too much of an active season closer to the Treasure Valley, but up north, that's a different story. So taking a look first at your morning. Good morning to you. It's Monday. We've got lower 70s waking up in Boise, upper 60s heading through your valley floors. As we get ready for our afternoon ahead, we are going to be looking a little bit cooler this week. You've got upper 80s to lower 90s in several spots, so it overall feels just pretty good out there. Our radar shows us that we are waking up to some showers from Baker City into McCall and Cascade, and then over to our friends in Twin Falls. So the good news about this week, Roland, is that we are finally seeing some rain and some much needed water.
Yeah, no question about that. All right, thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. We turn now to a big news for an affordable housing community out in Caldwell, as they are now able to proceed with renovations and expansions with the support of the city. Neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis has more.
For generations, a former labor camp known as Farmway Village stood just outside the official limits of Caldwell, not part of the city it neighbored. That changed this year. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis, and after 85 years, the former labor camp has officially been annexed into the city of Caldwell, marking a historic and emotional milestone for residents and city leaders.
It's kind of a finally home type feeling.
Caldwell Housing Authority Executive Director Mike Dittenberg says the annexation process wasn't an easy one for the nearly century-old Farmway Village.
When wearing my executive director hat, I worked diligently to make sure we complied with all the requirements of annexation.
Dittenberg is also a city council member and had to move the process forward. He had to recuse himself on city council decisions related to the former labor camp. Farmway Village is now a nearly 79-acre community providing affordable housing for many families, just 3 to 4 miles from downtown Caldwell. With the annexation into city limits, the village now has a completed master plan and proper zoning, meaning they can move forward with renovations and expansion, making more room for community members to call it home.
This is where I'm meant to be.
Farmway program specialist Teresa Sanchez creates events for the nearly 1,100 people currently living in the Farmway community.
We get a lot of parents saying, thank you.
It just, you're saving me some gas, driving into town. And, the parents also come out here and they just sit back and relax and watch their kids have fun.
Jocelyn Silva told me it's been a blessing to live there for 10 years. She and her family have felt welcome and supported in a place that's both affordable and full of heart.
Just seeing all the kids come together and trying to do stuff like that, or the, community barbecues that they host for them, it's just really, really nice. So we've been here 10 years. They make you feel like your family.
Now working and being manager at La Tiendita, Jocelyn has made it her mission to extend the same sense of belonging to everyone who walks through the door.
It's amazing. Like a lot of the stories, a lot of the people you get to really know on a personal level, because they'll come to you and tell you their stories and talk to you, and it's nice.
Farmway Village is planning a public annexation celebration later this month. As part of the master plan, Farmway Village hopes to add more affordable living homes and an RV section. Anyone can apply to be a part of the community. You can find those details and more information about the annexation celebration in this story on IdahoNews6.com. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis for Idaho News 6.
The state of Idaho appears to have some money troubles. In its August update, the state of Idaho's Division of Financial Management identified a nearly $80 million shortfall in this year's state government budget. The budget deficit reflects a downward trend in Idaho's revenue forecast, which was recently estimated to be over $850 million less than previously predicted. The DFM attributes the lowered state revenue forecast to two primary factors: recently passed legislation like the tax credit for parents who choose to educate their children outside the public school system, as well as revisions to Idaho's economic forecast. Now, Governor Little recently signed an executive order aimed at cutting 3% from select state agencies, but it's unclear at this point if those cuts will be enough to satisfy the deficit or create perhaps a surplus.
The College of Southern Idaho is expanding with multiple projects in both Twin Falls and Jerome. I'm your Twin Falls neighborhood reporter Joey Martin, learning about 4 major projects setting CSI up for the future.
The last year was another record-breaking year for us.
The College of Southern Idaho is dedicated to providing high in-demand job training, and thanks to, in part, from the Idaho Launch Program, that in-demand training and education has the campus bursting at the seams.
Over the entire year, we served more than 17,000 students at CSI.
And with higher enrollment comes the need for more space and upgraded facilities. Over on the CSI main campus, 2 projects are nearing completion, including the new $15 million Transportation Technology Center.
This is going to house our truck diesel program, ag diesel, heavy diesel, those types of programs. The building itself is going to be complete probably towards the end of next month. Students are going to be in class here January of 2026.
But that's not the only project currently underway on the north end of campus. The growing Health Science and Human Services building needed some more space.
Obviously, a lot of super popular programs in that area, a lot of growth. So we are expanding in that area too to add a little bit more parking.
But CSI is not just the main campus in Twin Falls. Over in Jerome, the Golden Eagles are becoming a major part of the community with 2 significant expansion projects, one just getting underway and another about to cut the ribbon.
Our Jerome building at 3rd and Lincoln is coming along nicely. We've got the foundation in. We're looking at likely a year from now being able to start serving students and serving the community out of that location.
And finally, over in J-Town, the CSI Golden Eagle men's and women's soccer programs are 1 week away from hitting their own pitch for the very first time.
The city of Jerome is hosting a ribbon cutting for that park a week from today. So that will happen. And then right after that ribbon cutting, our women's soccer team will play and our men's soccer team will follow them. So we're very excited about that. Excited to take intercollegiate athletics across the river over to Jerome.
The Founders Park grand opening ceremony will take place next Friday in Jerome and is scheduled to kick off at noon with a ribbon cutting ceremony at 1, followed by that historic Golden Eagle soccer action. Reporting on the campus of the College of Southern Idaho, I'm your neighborhood reporter Joey Martin, Idaho News 6.
Hummingbird House is a local nonprofit giving women in recovery from addiction a place to call home. Their first house opened 3 years ago, and at first the idea was met with some resistance. But over time, neighbors not only accepted it, but they've also helped grow their mission into even more Treasure Valley neighborhoods.
I feel like we're a family. It's not just sober living.
Becca Lebrecht is the live-in house manager at one of the Hummingbird House locations in Boise.
Like, we want to do our dinner thing like once a month, where we all get together and have dinner.
The West Boise home is the newest addition to the Hummingbird House network, now 3 homes strong, with a 4th expected to open this fall. Back in 2022, Idaho News 6 reported that some people oppose the idea of sober living homes in their neighborhood. But in just 3 years, the community has rallied, embracing these women committed to rebuilding their lives.
Without the community, I don't think we would be where we are.
That support has helped dozens of women find stability. And earlier this month, South Hills Church in Eagle furnished the newest home, donating supplies, furniture, and cash to make it move-in ready.
As Hummingbird House expands in both Ada and Canyon counties, they're launching a donation campaign to support even more women in recovery. You can find details on how to help at idahonews6.com. In studio, I'm neighborhood reporter Ali Tripke for Idaho News 6.
It is 6:39. Let's take a look now at what's happening today in your neighborhood. Students and parents in Jerome should expect new routes to school this morning. Class is back in session today following last week's bus issues that led to the cancellation of classes on Thursday and Friday. So the district is implementing new bus and drop-off routes, and parents can see those changes in the Compass app. And a reminder for Jerome middle schoolers that it's picture day, so dress up. All right, Boise Parks and Rec putting out a call for job applications at the new Warm Springs Golf Course Clubhouse. The clubhouse looking for food runners, bussers, a cook, and a food and beverage, and golf shop attendants, all perfect positions for teenagers looking for part-time work. You can find links to those applications on our website, idahonews6.com. And the Meridian Monday Night Market back for another night of live music, local vendors, food trucks. You can find free parking at Story Park and the Meridian Speedway. That's all going down from 4 to 9 tonight.
The Warbird Roundup takes place at the Warhawk Air Museum in Nampa.
All right, it's 6:42 and our neighborhood of the day is Eagle, where we're sitting with the lower 90s. It's going to be cloudy here throughout the day. You'll notice we'll start to see some rain chances as we move into this afternoon, but even more so as we head into our Wednesday. I'll have the rest of the details ahead coming up.
The Warbird Roundup is the largest gathering of historic planes in Idaho, and it's a sight to see. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Steve Dent, here on day one of a 2-day event at the Warhawk Air Museum. The Warbird Roundup features classic World War II airplanes like the P-51 Mustang, the P-38 Lightning, and countless others in a stacked lineup as people get to witness history firsthand.
I mainly like it because they're old planes flying, made it through World War II, and they saved our country.
In those years, women were not allowed to fly in combat, and there were no women flying in the military.
The show also included a heritage flight with the P-47 Thunderbolt and one of the Air Force's newest jets, the F-35A Lightning II, which became part of the fleet in 2016. The pilot of this jet is Melanie Klusner, call sign Mock.
I know it's a female. That's why it was awesome. She did some tricks.
I'm your neighborhood reporter, Steve Dent, for Idaho News 6.
After the break, the family of one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims blasting the Justice Department after it released recordings from a meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted sex trafficker trying to clear some of Epstein's most powerful friends of wrongdoing.
This morning, new outrage over a meeting between the Justice Department and Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell.
There's no list. There's never been a list.
And you never heard Mr. Epstein talk about such a list?
Never.
The family of Virginia Giuffre, one of Maxwell's victims, now slamming the DOJ, saying it gave Maxwell a, quote, platform to rewrite history, adding, the content of these transcripts is in direct contradiction with felon Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction for child sex trafficking. The fierce criticism coming after the DOJ released recordings of Maxwell's meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, the country's second highest ranking law enforcement official, and President Trump Trump's former personal attorney.
I did introduce him to women. I did, but not underage women.
Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking minors, also claimed that none of Epstein's powerful friends was involved in anything illegal, including Presidents Trump and Clinton.
I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
You're not aware of President Clinton ever going to the island?
He absolutely never went.
Just days after her interview with Blanche, Maxwell was moved to a minimum security prison in Texas. Giuffre's family calling the move a, quote, travesty of justice, while an attorney for dozens of alleged victims stresses that Maxwell has a history of lying and was already charged with perjury. Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Good Monday morning to you. Your time right now is 6:48. If you're dealing with the Monday scaries this week, we're getting through our Monday together at least, and we even have some rain chances. Yes, it sounds so good to say that because it's been so hot and dry. Right now I'm showing you Twin Falls, where it's a bit cloudier waking up here, lower 70s. You are going to look at some isolated showers moving through this area, but also our radar shows us that we are looking at some rain move through from Baker City upwards into LeGrand, so heads up if you're traveling there. Closer to home, Twin Falls and Burley, showers accompanying you on your morning commute. Now, it's very quiet here in our Treasure Valley, so this is all just some ground clutter that the radar's picking up, which is just like buildings and birds and even things like that, but no actual rain. For our morning, though, we'll see those cloudy starts the day continue on. A few isolated showers already sparking up in the Magic Valley. By the time we head into 2 o'clock, this scatters across our east and west central mountains. By the evening, it's going to grow a little bit heavier over those mountainous areas, but through Tuesday morning, you won't really notice too much change, other than that the clouds are going to slowly break off just a bit. And this is all just before we see those scattered shower chances again. So this goes from eastern Oregon all the way into southwest Idaho. It really affects our mountainous areas. So if you are heading up to the mountains tomorrow, it is going to be rainy. You are going to want to grab the umbrella and just keep it with you throughout the week. Because take a look by Wednesday morning, and this is just updated. This shows us that we are looking at some heavy rain accompanying us on our morning commute. So again, Wednesday morning, this is going to be the day where you want to plan for some extra time because we are going to be looking at some wet and slick roads and the heaviest rain on Wednesday. As far as wildfire smoke goes, we are going to see clouds build in, but also some hazy skies from our wildfire smoke. Now, all this smoke is up well towards our north and grows denser as you make your way up there. But for us, it's going to continue to be between light to moderate as we head into the afternoon today. By tomorrow, again, it is still going to be sticking around. So you notice that all of that wildfire smoke really focuses over eastern Oregon and into southwest Idaho. But again, we don't really look at too much change, and we have to continue to monitor those efforts for our wildfires, and hopefully this rain coming in really helps out our firefighters with that. As far as air quality goes, it has worsened as you make your way up well towards our north and where those existing and really active wildfires are, but closer to home we are still at that moderate, so it's still okay to be outside. Just want to assure you of that because it will be looking a little bit cloudier and hazier this afternoon. Either way, the good news about all this rain coming in and just the rain-cooled air is that temperatures are going to lower. So by lower 80s into Wednesday and Thursday with rain chances continuing on. Into your weekend, you've got upper 80s and then those 90s stick around by Monday. It's going to be a good week ahead, but just make sure you are packing the umbrella while you head out the door. Speaking of heading out the door, let's get you ready for your morning commute.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
6:51 is your time, and we are giving you a live look of downtown where it's Monday morning. Maybe you're waking up with that first cup of coffee with us this morning. Well, good morning to you if you're just checking in with us, but you've got Cunard Meridian eastbound on I-84 starting to look a little bit busier out there. Overall, our map is still green in several spots, so we haven't looked at too much change yet. Taking a closer look, though, into Meridian, West Cherry Lane and West Franklin Road still look pretty good out there. And a little bit closer to Eagle, also a nice quiet start if you're heading on to West State Street.
In this morning's GMA First Look, scare in the air.
I did wake up to one of the flight attendants jumping on my chair to get the fire extinguisher.
Passenger Adriana Novello on board Flight 357 Saturday with 160 passengers on board.
No, we'll stop here, please, for American 357.
American 357, no problem. You can just hold there.
An American Airlines flight heading from Philly to Phoenix, diverting to Washington Dulles after a passenger's personal device caught fire.
We wound up having to do an emergency landing because there was a small fire in row 31 on our plane. I was in the exit row, so I wasn't super close to it, and I started smelling smoke, and a lot of people on the plane were coughing. But I looked behind me, and what we could tell was that there was something on fire in the aisle.
And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have much more on how flight attendants quickly jumped into action to put out that fire. With your GMA First Look, I'm Gio Benitez, ABC News, New York.
And welcome back, everybody. It's 5 minutes before the hour. We're starting to wrap things up on Good Morning Idaho. Here's some of the top stories that we're following from our neighborhood reporters.
In the Treasure Valley, traveling by car could change to traveling on the tracks.
This public transportation project carries a multi-billion-dollar price tag. It's part of a plan that could connect communities, and for drivers sitting in traffic every day, it could be a game changer.
After 85 years, a longtime community just outside Caldwell officially becomes a part of the city.
After nearly a century, Farmway Village officially joins Caldwell through annexation, enabling the 79-acre affordable housing community to expand.
In Boise, neighbors once pushed back against a women's sober living home in their neighborhood.
Now 3 homes strong, with a 4th expected to open this fall. That support has helped dozens of women find stability. And earlier this month, South Hills Church in Eagle furnished the newest home, donating supplies, furniture, and cash to make it move-in ready.
Of course, you can learn more about all of these stories on our website. Just head to idahonews6.com.
Now, the Out the Door forecast, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
All right, it's 6:56, and as you get ready to start your day, pack the umbrella. It is going to be pretty cloudy throughout the day, and we'll see some specks of sunshine into 1 o'clock, but by the later evening, mid-80s, those clouds will build in, and we'll be looking at some isolated shower chances for this afternoon, and overall, it's just going to be one of those weeks where you want to have the umbrella prepared. If you want to read more about the forecast, you can head on over to idahonews6.com. Otherwise, let's get you ready for your Monday morning commute.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
Okay, here's a look of downtown where the clouds have increased over us. It's looking a little bit cloudy out there, but it's kind of nice. We haven't seen too many clouds or much rain come through, and now we're looking at the opposite of that this week. But either way, all right, your drive times. You've got Caldwell to downtown eastbound at just under 32 minutes, so still a good time if you wanted to head out and not avoid that 45-minute time that we always see. It's pretty common there throughout our morning. You've got also Chittenden Boulevard to US 20 at just under 13 minutes, and then I-84 eastbound between 13 to 8 minutes. So it's a nice, quiet start to the day, Roland, and I know we were talking about the rain. I'm excited for it because I said we needed it, but then you reminded me that the Boise Balloon Classic is coming up.
I know. The Spirit of Boise Balloon Classic starts on Wednesday. It's Kids Day, and then goes through the week and into the weekend. It looks like at least half of it's going to be kind of washed out.
Yeah, I'm thinking Wednesday morning, that's going to be the day where we see the heaviest rainfall. Thursday looks a little bit lighter, but again, I haven't been to it, so I kind of hope that we get the things going and in motion. Maybe it'll be better on Friday.
All right, at least Friday. So hopefully we'll hope for Thursday, and we'll see how things go on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Find that umbrella, everybody. You're going to need it. We'll see you tomorrow.